All right, I'm Arnold Kling, and I'm asked to discuss income inequality. What, if anything, should be done about it? So let's put income inequality in the middle. Inequality, sorry about the spelling. And we'll put some causal factors on the left, causal factors, and some consequences. I only have 5 minutes, so I've got to write quickly. Sorry about that. Okay, and my point will be there are a whole bunch of plausible causal factors and a whole bunch of plausible consequences. And so the net result is income inequality is embedded in a system that James Manzi, in his forthcoming book Uncontrolled, would call a lot of causal density. So there's a lot of causal density. So Nick Schultz and I wrote something called the Sergey Brin effect, in which we said immigration could be a causal factor, marital patterns. We call it the Sergey Brin effect because he epitomizes these things. He's an immigrant. He's the son of very educated parents. There's a technology factor. You get these winners take most technologies coming in, so he's a partner in Google and takes part in that. Charles Murray in Coming Apart suggests that causal factor is sort of moral decline in the bottom half of the, or just changes in morals in the bottom half versus the top. So Matt Iglesias talks about land use policy as exacerbating inequality. I've seen Alex Tabarrok, in some sense, talk about the change in the roles of women, because you used to have smart women contributing to reduced inequality by working as teachers at low salaries, and now they're contributing to increased inequality by working in other fields and earning more money. So, and of course there are many, many, many other causal factors at work. And then in terms of consequences, there are some potential good consequences and bad consequences. So some bad consequences, Robert Frank talks about the destructive competition for status. So people trying to get into high-income neighborhoods and all sorts of other things. And sort of related to that, we have Rajaram Rajan's view that it causes a lot of borrowing as people try to keep up with the Joneses in terms of consumption. They end up borrowing more, and so that's a bad consequence. Possible good consequences, there's innovation. You get the rewards for innovation create inequality. Also, consumers push innovation. So when something is very expensive, the rich people are the first ones to try it out when it has sort of high costs and low benefits. Think of getting your genome analyzed. 10 years ago, only somebody who had tens of millions of dollars could afford to do that, and of course it really didn't do that much good, but they would go ahead and do it anyway. So the bottom line is there are many, many possible causal factors and many possible consequences, and it's very hard for us to understand that, and so this is not an area where public policy is going to be executed with any sort of precision, and that's something to worry about. And then the final point I want to make in the last minute is from Jonathan Haidt's, or maybe it's Haidt's new book, The Righteous Mind, so that we react in kind of using a tribal approach to inequality. That is, we see a lot of people react to a rich person as sort of the dominant chimpanzee in a band, and sometimes chimps will try to beat up the dominant chimpanzee, and I think that we have that tendency here to react to wealth as a threat of someone becoming dominant. We want to take them down. And then one of Haidt's points is that we often react emotionally, like we think of this dominant chimp, and we react emotionally, and then we rationalize our moral standing. So we're going to come up with all sorts of reasons, and given all these sort of causes and consequences, we can rationalize almost any extent we want about this dominant chimp. So the question is, should we react this way? Is this sort of tribal melodrama of the dominant chimpanzee the right way to react, or should we step back and think and maybe not react that way? So that's all I'll have to say on this. So here are some of the references. James Manzi was Uncontrolled, Charles Murray, Coming Apart, Kling and Schultz, The Sergey Brin Effect, which you could Google, Iglesias, The Rent is Too Damn High, Tabarrok, Launching the Innovation Renaissance, Rajan, Fault Lines, Frank, The Darwin Economy, and Haidt, The Righteous Mind.